I saw a quote from Djokovic today. It was something that of talking about players on the tour. He was talking about everyone has an amazing serve. Everyone can return. Everyone can hit a forehand. Everyone can hit an amazing backhand. Tennis is a mental game. That's where the difference is. I wanted to see what you have to say about that, and I've been thinking more and more about the mental approach to the game recently.
Yeah, I think at that level, I mean, there's different mental approaches according to how well you play, but at that world class level, I mean, everybody can play. I
Yeah,
mean, you think number one in the world has a lot better forehand than number 50 in the world, for example?
no,
Probably not, but they don't miss. That's the thing. They don't miss. Like I remember seeing, and you won't remember this guy, Ivan Lendl.
I don't know. Of course,
He was
so
practicing at my club because the tournament in those days were near the Mayfair clubs where I used to work.
yeah,
So I remember him practicing, and he hit the ball with all his might. Of course, all his might then is not like all his might with Sinner.
yeah.
All his might.
Different equipment too,
He
right?
never made a mistake. The guy never
Yeah,
made a mistake. Um, so that's the difference. And the other difference is that in crucial points, they have that confidence. They know they're going to win that point,
yeah.
where maybe somebody else has a little bit of a doubt.
How do you think a player can develop that kind of mental fortitude in those high pressure situations? Because it goes back to this quote that everyone can hit a forehand, everyone can hit a backhand. You see so many players, you know, at a provincial level, even juniors, you see them in practice, they're hitting unbelievably. But can you perform when the pressure's on? How do you develop that kind of
I think you need a good
mentality?
psychologist
Pardon
to
me?
you need a good psychologist to help you with that. Like you have to have supreme confidence when you're in a tennis match. You
Yeah,
have to think, I'm not losing this. I can't lose this. And the advantage with tennis over a lot of other sports is there's no time limit. So you're playing a baseball game with no time limit. You're down 10-0 in the ninth and final inning. You can still win, and you have to
yeah,
think you can still win. If you're playing football or basketball, which is timed,
yeah,
and you're down 4 touchdowns with 2 minutes left, you can't win.
right.
Or in basketball, you're down 40 points with 5 minutes left.
Yeah,
You can't
no
win.
chance. Yeah,
But tennis, like baseball, you're never out of it. You have to believe that. You have to believe that you're never out of it. You're going to win.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I think it always, I've dealt with a lot of kids looking to get into competition, or maybe they're playing some provincial level tournaments, and you know, and I was told when I was competing, just play in tournaments, play in tournaments. When I was,
Don't do that, me.
I think you might have mentioned it, but I remember the coaches, the coaches in my junior program were telling me, you know, who's playing, we used to ask the group, who's playing in a tournament this weekend? Oh, you're not playing? Okay, next weekend you're going to play in a tournament because it's all about getting the practice in when it matters,
Exactly.
right?
That's a,
You're in
that's a
the
very good
tournament, you're
point.
in a tournament setting.
That's a very good point because I remember telling myself, and of course I played at a lower level than these guys on the tour, but still a decent level. And I remember telling myself, look, you're in great shape. You were playing in those days. I was playing 3 matches a day in practice.
Oh
I'd hit
yeah,
the shot a million times. So now I'm in a tournament match. I know
right,
I can do it.
right. Is that, see, but that my point is that just because you're doing it in practice doesn't mean you can do it in a tournament.
Well,
But you're
that's
saying how you translated from practice to tournament is that you've done it a million times in practice.
my mental approach was I do this every day, many times a day. I'm going to do it now too.
Yeah,
It's it. I know it's different, but that's what you're talking about. You have to convince yourself that it's not different.
right, right.
There's
And
another thing I want to mention that um, Japanese women had a great volleyball team, one of the best in the world.
okay,
And their coach had a saying, um, practice is for crying, match play is for laughing. So in other words, you put in the work, You practice really hard and then just enjoy yourself.
Yeah. And that's a tricky quote too, because while that might work for some players don't perform well if they're laughing, if they're having too good of a
Well,
time.
it's just a manner of speech.
I know, yes,
You know
yeah,
that,
yeah.
but what the guy is saying is relax. You've put in the practice, you've
Yeah.
worked hard, to the point of tears. Now here's your reward. You get to play a match.
Do you think if you told that to John McEnroe before Wimbledon, he would take kindly to that? That
Well,
yeah, just laugh out there, Johnny.
he's an unusual character. He had to behave like he behaved, otherwise he wasn't going to be effective.
Yeah,
Got him going because most players, if they lose it like that, they're not going to win. But
yeah,
that motivated him to be one of the best players
for
ever.
sure. No, I love quotes like that. One of my favorite quotes comes from Roger Federer. He said, "You've got to have it's fire and ice, fire in your heart, ice in your veins," and that's what
Very good.
yeah, he loved to say that. Basically keep your cool on the outside, and on the inside, you have that burning desire to win. And I thought it's just it's all a balance, right?
And the other mindset is, which is really good in matches. Just, I mean, again, going back to my game, and again, it wasn't that level, but I played a decent level.
Well, you don't like to toot your own horn, but you have some accolades as a
Yeah.
player.
What I like to say to myself is, okay, I'm not hitting any balls into the net.
Yeah,
And what would happen is my balls went deep. I hit out very rarely, but not into the net. And it's good to have that. It's good to have 1 or 2 points that you're thinking about.
right. Especially if you've missed a few balls, right? Especially if you've hit a few balls into the net, you know.
I never missed those, so I wouldn't know
Oh,
about that.
you don't know about missing. You used to tell me, I remember going into playing, or when I was more serious about playing, you used to tell me how, you used to pride yourself on not showing emotion, like not getting too high, not getting too low. You stayed very stoic on the court. You didn't let your opponent know that, you were troubled by missing balls or whatever, making
Exactly.
mistakes, or you're
Because that
losing,
gets
you
them
don't
to
show
lose
it.
their concentration. They start to think, why isn't this guy getting mad? He's hitting all kinds of balls into the net. And they
Yeah.
start to think about him.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean
That's
you're not
kind
trying hard. It just means you're not showing it.
right.
You've
Right.
got the, yeah, you got the, that's what it is. You got the fire.
For sure. Yeah, it's different. I remember going back to Federer, he used to say, people got on his case that, he doesn't seem to be trying very hard. And he said, how do they know I'm not trying hard? I'm trying really hard. I
The
just
mental
look
thing.
like it, just
Trying
like,
is a mental thing. You can't tell.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just because you're not smashing rackets like Roddick doesn't mean you're not trying hard,
Right, exactly.
you know.
Whatever.
Um,
Different people are motivated by different things, different
for
actions.
sure. It's so individual. Um, how I'd love to end this off is, you know, some advice for young players if they're trying to develop their game. Um, how would you advise them to develop a resilient and winning mindset?
Yeah. Well, first of all, when you practice, practice hard. You're not out there to fool around. It's better to have 1 hour of really good practice than be flippant for 4 hours.
Yeah.
So that's one, practice really hard. Two, know your inventory. I call it. I made that one up. I'll give credit when somebody else makes it up. But
Okay. But that's your thing.
yes,
Know
know
your
your
inventory.
inventory. Know
We'll
what you
come
can.
out with some shirts.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Know what you can do.
Yeah.
Find out what you do well, and then do it.
Yeah.
So that kind of gives you some stability. Okay,
Yeah.
I do this. I've got a great forehand, so I'm going to move around my backhand a little bit. That's what I'm going to think about. Never think about losing.
Yeah. Always positive.
Always positive, no matter what the score is, no matter how lousy you're playing, you can still win.
Yeah.
But you have to stay positive with that. So practice hard, stay positive.
I always, I go back to you don't want to try to play too good. You don't want to try to play outside of yourself. You don't want to get on the court and all of a sudden you're just because you're not playing like Carlos Alcaraz, it means you're not playing good enough. When, if you're playing a match, you're only trying to beat the player on the opposite side of the net, right?
That's the other thing with a lot of junior players. I want to hit my forehand like Alcaraz, or I want to hit my backhand like Federer. Well, you're not Alcaraz and you're not Federer.
Yeah,
Got to get up to that place at some point, and don't be disappointed if you're not hitting it like Alcaraz or Federer.
right, right. You're just trying to get a little bit better every time you get out on the court, even at a recreational level. I mean, you hear a lot. I mean, how many times over the years at a club have you heard, I want to make my hit a forehand like Federer. I want to, I see the guys on TV. I want to hit like that
You
from a
know,
recreational club player.
I talk a lot about process goals. Like
Yeah,
it's fine to say, and this works in everything. It's fine to say, okay, I want to be Ontario champion, dealing with a local level. I want to be Ontario champion. Well, that's meaningless. Okay, that's your goal. Okay, how do you get to be Ontario champion? Well, first of all, you got to improve your serve. Okay, how do you improve your serve? Well, maybe my ball toss isn't high enough. Okay, so your process goal for today is get the ball up on the toss. And once you get that, then you go on to the next process goal. But it's a lengthy process to be a champion for sure.